Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. Turn that down a little bit. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. How y'all doing out there? Listen, I'm doing good, but we got to talk about this crap because Eddie Hearn is just totally out of control. Totally taking it to the stupid. With his classic strategy, make you believe opponents are more dangerous than they really are when it comes to facing a matchroom fighter. Let me tell you something. You kind of got to set the stage when you start talking about a guy like Eddie Hearn, man. Now, Anthony Joshua, he is at a crossroads in his career. We know what he was before, okay? Once the indomitable heavyweight champion, he's no longer the invincible force he once was. Losses and close calls have slightly tarnished the aura of invincibility for a promoter like Eddie Hearn. The challenge is crystal clear to me. Keep Joshua relevant, protect his legacy, and maintain fan interest, all while generating revenue. Now, doesn't that sound like what he's trying to do with Jerome Boots Ennis? So anyway, come down, Arslanbek Makhmudov. What a joke. Now, look, he's gotten better, but still a D-level fighter up at heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? Is he heavy hitting? Yeah, I guess, any heavyweight, you got to put some respect on the name. They touch you, they can hurt you. He's not undefeated. Okay? He has, 2 losses? Against Caballel and against Guido Vianello. Or Vianello, yeah, whatever his last name. I don't want to mispronounce his name. But for me, when you look at this, right? When you look at him fight, you look at him on paper, I don't see how anyone can see this as a threat to AJ. This is AJ's cherry pick. And what we're seeing here is a very specific purpose when it comes to Eddie Hearn and his chess game with the sport of boxing. There is no danger. They'll try to create an illusion that there's danger for Anthony Joshua facing a guy like Makhmudov because they're going to sell him off to you as he's dangerous. He's unpredictable. Look, I get it. He's got some knockout power, but Arslanbek Makhmudov isn't going to do anything to shake up the heavyweight world, and he sure as hell is not going to beat Anthony Joshua. So the casual fan sees the record, couple losses, they see some of the highlight reel knockouts, and they see the physicality of him. He's a big guy. So some of them can kind of buy into the drama, but the hardcore fans, look, man, we know Makhmudov has yet to get a win over elite opposition. He got in there with Caballel beat him. Then the Guido guy, he did him dirty as well. So this is classic Hearn, gonna create suspense around a fighter. While there's a little bit of talent there, he's not truly a test for a fading star like Anthony Joshua. Like Joshua still has enough in the gas tank to probably blast this guy out in the first round. The same way Jerome Boots Ennis blasted out Wisma Lima. So for me, it's Eddie Hearn being calculated, being the master strategist that he is. And this is a calculated mismatch. You look closely at Makhmudov's career. He's faced mostly lower tier competition. He stepped up against 2 guys with a pulse and he lost. Got knocked out. And his skill set hasn't really been tested under the pressure of, world-class opponents. Because they're trying to rebuild him. But this thing, I guess Makhmudov would go after Anthony Joshua because Anthony Joshua promised him a fight, and Makhmudov will probably make good money fighting AJ, and the reality is even Makhmudov must realize he can keep fighting C, D-level type fighters, and there's a risk of him losing because he doesn't have a gas tank. If he can't get you out of there, he's in trouble. But I just think even Joshua with declining reflexes and slight lapses, I just think AJ possesses the speed, reach, still got power, and the ring IQ that a guy like Makhmudov has never had to deal with. You know what I'm saying? Hearn is effectively creating a scenario where Joshua can appear challenged without being in real danger. The risk is manufactured risk. The reward, though, is huge. And this is a textbook, cherry-picked textbook, Eddie Hearn, and we just saw Eddie Hearn and his wicked sorcery in full EFFECT this past weekend when Jerome Bolsinis fought Weiss Malima. Now, timing is everything, you know what I'm saying? Hearn's not just picking the opponent. He's controlling the timing. Joshua needs to fight, and he needs a fight that's going to restore his, I would say, the aura of greatness. But he got to keep the clock in his favor. Look, Joshua, he turned pro in 2012, man. He's been fighting a long time. And I just think with Makhmudov losing to Caballero, coming back, getting a win, then losing to Guido, then coming back, getting some wins. I think Makhmudov arrives at the perfect moment. Joshua is still marketable. Makhmudov may have made some people some believers because he's using a jab, he's doing a 1-2, he's clinching now, he's doing whatever he needs to do against D level fighters to survive. But I just don't think Makhmudov is a threat, and I think people out here with any common sense knows, no matter how they try to market him, we all know that it's a crap show. And the heavyweight division is ripe for a spectacle, and AJ is the one Eddie Hearn wants to make sure delivers that spectacle and a spectacular knockout. But by staging this fight now, let me tell you, Hearn ensures that AJ can take the ring, make a statement, remain relevant without overexposing him to a career-defining loss, and possibly get the Tyson Fury fight. Because you know how it is with some of these fans, what we learned after watching Jerome Boots this past weekend. If these fans are rocking with you, they're rocking with you. All you gotta do is give them a knockout. They don't care if they're your fans. They'll run up on you. If you say something bad about some of these boxing fans' favorite fighter, they'll run up on you and bite you. So they crazy, man. But I just think it's marketable drama. Every fight Eddie Hearn promotes tells a story. He's always talking, talk. But when it comes to AJ, you know he loves AJ. Him, his dad, the whole matchroom, they love Anthony Joshua. But when it comes to Makhmudov, his narrative is pretty damn simple. You know, he's this Eastern European monster puncher. And we all know Anthony Joshua struggled with punches, but I mean, this guy, what's the chances of him landing on AJ? So it's to continue trying to create Joshua's story, a redemption story, for him to prove to the fans that, you know, that, hey, he's still the man and y'all need to get behind him, you know what I mean? And all this is going to do is just set up huge ticket sales. And I don't know what they're doing with pay-per-view buys out there in the UK and Turkey Al-Sheikh and his events in the zone. Seems like they've gone away from that model. But the bottom line is AJ coming out here fighting Makhmudov and knocking him out, that's going to fuel social media chatter. That's what Eddie Hearn wants. You know, he wants fans to get the drama, fighters to get their payday, and Hearn keeps the division moving on his terms, making sure his guy is leading the pack. It's a masterclass in sports entertainment. Perception matters more than reality, and Eddie Hearn understands that, and he's got it down to a T. So the Joshua Shield, man, Hearn has always prioritized protecting his marquee fighters, and Anthony Joshua is barely holding on. You got Jerome Bolsinis, you got Shakur Stevenson, and those guys aren't. They don't come anywhere remotely close to what Anthony Joshua brings to the table, man. Joshua is the centerpiece of Matchroom, and I would say still probably the centerpiece of the heavyweight division. He's a commodity, man. You know Tyson Fury is the big dog. Usyk, you know, he is the guy. But Anthony Joshua, there's still something about him. He's a huge draw. And if Eddie Hearn makes the wrong move, now you got a possible loss against a legitimate world-class threat. At this stage in AJ's career, that could derail future mega fights. Now, remember, Eddie Hearn doesn't mind putting AJ in a mega fight. Rematch with Usyk because of the amount of money that they'll all make. A fight with Tyson Fury because of the amount of money they'll all make. But anything outside of a Makhmudov level fighter, he ain't doing that shit. He won't even put him in there with Deontay Wilder. Because you just don't know if Deontay going to land that right hand. You just don't know. So Hearn is effectively shielding Joshua. It's not about risk-taking. It's about legacy preservation. The fight becomes both a spectacle and a safeguard. And that's just what it is. So, yeah, look, anybody disagree with me, look, man, it is what it is. But the skill gap is a reality. I don't know how y'all getting upset with what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? There is some hype around Makhmudov. There is some hype around him. There has always been. But most of us have come to our senses about Makhmudov, and we know he's one hard shot, one body shot away from being knocked out again. And his chin is pretty good, but it ain't made out of granite. If Joshua lands on him, which he will, he'll knock him out cold. Dave Allen had him going. You know what I'm saying? But I just think when you look at Makhmudov, that gap in experience and skill against a guy like AJ is telling. It's just like Wisma Lima against damn Jerome Businis, man. Joshua's faced multiple elite opponents, learned from defeats, and adapted at the highest level. Makhmudov's raw power can't replace polished technique, defensive awareness, or the mental toughness of a guy like Joshua who, you know, although he's cherry picking, he's a seasoned champion, man. Hearn knows that. Hearn's not stupid. And the casual fans rarely scrutinize things the way I do, so they're going to roll with it. They just see the knockout, they feel the tension, and then they tune in and they start to hip hip parade, hoist these fighters on their shoulders and want to parade them around like this is the renaissance of their go-to fighter. You know what I'm saying? The rebirth. But I just think we talk about Hearn. I just can't help but think about strategic optics. You know what I'm saying? Hearn understands awareness, how things look. He understands it, man. The risk of Makhmudov allows Joshua to look courageous, tested, and relevant. And a smooth win reinforces Joshua's star power. A closer than expected fight can still be spun as a heroic effort because the audience perceives drama, but the structural design ensures the outcome favors Joshua and Joshua's long-term positioning. So Hearn is out here playing chess one move at a time in a way only veteran promoters understand, but I know what he's doing. Because you know if Joshua, first of all, anything can happen in a fight. I just don't see Joshua losing. But you watch Eddie Hearn will come in here and talk about Makhmudov if they sign the fight with AJ. I mean, if I just happen to be at the press conference, I'm bringing canned tomatoes and I'm throwing them at Eddie Hearn. You know what I'm saying? Because he got to stop with the bullshit. We understand what Eddie Hearn's doing. We could see right through it. Anthony Joshua, to me, rematch the ball. Fight Caballero. Matter of fact, fight Deontay Wilder. If we don't need to see him fight Usyk again, rematch Parker. Tyson Fury don't want to fight him. There's nothing he can do about that, but keep putting the work in, man. Don't expect us to feel like he's back because he beats a guy like Makhmudov. That just tells me that he's lost his confidence in Eddie Hearn. He realizes his guy's lost his confidence and he doesn't want to lose his cash cow. That is the golden goose. They're trying to build Jerome Businis up to be the golden goose. But Jerome Businis is still laying brown eggs. Anthony Joshua is laying golden eggs. And Eddie Hearn, he still want to keep collecting them golden eggs. Just make sure Conor Benn ain't nowhere around. Because I like Conor Benn. I like what he did against Eubank Jr. But I'd be remiss if I didn't at least crack one joke about Anthony Joshua laying golden eggs and making sure Conor Benn ain't nowhere near that because, you know, my boy likes the eggs and shit. But it's just a joke, all right? Let's move on. But beyond the ring, beyond all the BS, this shit is about revenue, man. Anthony Joshua, the golden goose, laying them golden eggs, ticket sales, sponsorships, and they just need the numbers, and everything spikes when AJ gets in the ring. And if they can make a fight with Makhmudov look like it's a high-stakes fight, people are going to tune in. You know what I'm saying? I just think, my thing is Makhmudov just got the shit beat out of him by Caviel and got the shit beat out of him by Guido. If, in fact, if he didn't get beat like that, I think even with 2 losses, Makhmudov would have a kind of status where we could respect. And then when you take his size, his stature, combine that with Anthony Joshua's, his stature, his fame, I think you get a pretty good formula. But look, this right here is what you call a shit sandwich. And no matter how you try to dress it up, it's still going to stink. And you can keep that shit away from me, you know what I'm saying? So Eddie Hearn can try to generate the excitement because he just wants to monetize suspense and ensure a strong payday without risking the assets that he built, and he wants to make continual assessments as they get closer to the fight. So it's business acumen wrapped in spectacle, and that's just what Eddie Hearn does. So, but it makes it interesting because the fight also shapes the broader division, you know what I'm saying? Give Joshua a winnable, I think a decent profile opponent. Some think Makhmudov is a high profile, but I don't know if he's high profile, but maybe we'll call him a high profile opponent. I think Hearn controls the narrative around the heavyweight landscape. Joshua just needs a big win. But we're going to sit there and demand he rematches at Dubois, something like that, but they're going to guide him away from that. Then other contenders remain on the periphery while Joshua maintains visibility. This ensures that when bigger fights happen, potentially against top-tier champions, Joshua enters as a bankable star rather than a fighter who's just been humbled. That is just, that would be catastrophic. Eddie Hearn can't allow that to happen. So he's not going to. So I just think the psychological edge for Joshua, a controlled matchup like Makhmudov offers some psychological benefits. He can regain confidence, test his preparation without existential risk, and he can showcase his skills in front of fans. Makhmudov, although he's powerful, becomes a proving ground rather than a genuine threat. You know what I mean? Hearn knows that mentally positioning and mental position is just as important as physical skill in preserving a fighter's dominance narrative. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he's trying to do with Anthony Joshua. So, bottom line, the more I look at this fight, the more annoyed I get. But the fight is textbook Eddie Hearn. Textbook Eddie, man. Eddie Hearn is going to cherry pick opponents, construct narratives, control timing, and maximize financial return while minimizing genuine risk to his fighters. And Anthony Joshua is the flagship fight over there on Matchroom, so AJ and Makhmudov is a spectacle designed to satisfy fans, especially AJ fans, protect AJ, who's a fading star, and generate that dollar bill, y'all. Wu-Tang cream, cha-ching, ching. The danger exists mostly in the marketing, not in the ring. So Hearn's strategy is simple but effective. Create drama, manage risk, and keep his fighter and his promotion at the center of the boxing world. And that's exactly what Eddie Hearn is doing with AJ. But when you put the kind of work in that AJ's put in, maybe he gets the right to kind of pick and choose what he does with fights. To keep making huge money and not take much risk, but this is just the era we live in with some of these guys, they ain't chasing, they don't want to chase greatness all the way up to the last fight. That's just not what they're trying to do anymore. But anyway, I'm far from slow. I know Eddie Hearn is up to no good. AJ and Eddie Hearn are cherry picking Makhmudov. But what if Makhmudov catches him? oh Lord have mercy, it's over for AJ. If he get caught by Makhmudov, which I don't think Makhmudov has any chance, but boy, if he catches AJ ass could be in trouble. The first 2 rounds could be dangerous. But that's why AJ just got to get him out of there. He just got to get him out of there. Same way Boots got Luis Malim out of there. Get him up out of there. Because that shit start to go. AJ gets tired too. AJ can find himself all of a sudden in 10th, 11th round with Makhmudov, and even if he wins, everybody going to clown him. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. Yo, I'm in the breeze.